Welcome to our analysis. Today, we're going to dive into a true avalanche of updates in the world of artificial intelligence. It seems like every week there's something new that promises to revolutionize everything, right? To guide us here, we have a very detailed script, based on various sources covering everything from impressive advances in image editing to how AI is entering our daily lives, as well as new language models and everything else.
So our mission here is to try to organize this flood of information, to filter out what really has the most impact and understand what's behind these new developments. We're going to focus a bit on image tools that, are challenging the status quo, and also on the ever-increasing presence of AI at Google, right? And on that whisper about what's coming next, like GPT-6.
The speed is incredible, so let's try to unpack this. Starting with image editing with AI, we're seeing tools emerge that seem really ready to compete with software we already know, like Photoshop. Two that have gotten a lot of attention now are qwen-image-edit and nano-banana.
This qwen-image-edit, which came from the Chinese giant Alibaba, has a key point. It's open source Apache 2.0 license. That already, says a lot about its access, and the functionality is very intuitive. It allows you to edit images with text commands, like what we've seen in ChatGPT, for example. You can ask it to change someone's angle in the photo, add an object that wasn't there, or even change the entire style. Turn a normal photo into something like a comic book.
We tested a few things like changing a shirt's color, getting a side view of someone who was facing forward, and it worked perfectly. Exactly. And this open source point, for me, is the most important one here. It signals a democratization, of these more advanced editing technologies. Think of the possibilities. Developers can take it, adapt it, improve it, and integrate it into other projects. This opens up a huge field for experimentation. But of course, then comes the question, right?
How does all this accessibility impact the professional software market and the professionals themselves? Will these open tools complement or end up replacing the paid, more complex ones? The question remains. It's a really interesting point.
And this fight could get even hotter with this so-called nano-banana. Although there's still some mystery around it, the buzz and the leaked demos, suggest even greater power. The examples are jaw-dropping. Swapping one handbag for another in a photo in a super realistic way, replacing just the cover of a book in someone's hand without touching the rest, adding glasses or a jacket with perfection. There was one case that went viral, right?
They took separate photos of Satya Nadella and Sundar Pichai and merged them into an image of them at the beach. It looked very natural, impressive. And perhaps the most incredible thing, transforming just a bowl of ramen in a photo into a 2D illustration, anime style, while keeping the entire photographic background realistic. Other models, when they tried, applied the style to the whole image.
This suggests that it understands the image's context in a much more sophisticated way, right?
Uh-huh. This capacity for contextual editing, like in the ramen example, is what could really set nano-banana apart if all of this turns out to be true. And about its origin, right? The signs point strongly to Google. There were key people from the company posting some mysterious references to bananas, so it's speculation. But how are people testing this if it hasn't even been officially launched?
Well, from what it seems, access is happening via the LM Arena. It's a platform where people compare the results of different AI models without knowing which is which. It's what they call blind battle mode. It's a smart way to collect mass human feedback, refine the model, and, of course, build that anticipation before an official launch. The potential to shake up software like Photoshop is clear, especially for quick manipulation and editing tasks. And it's worth saying, this didn't come out of nowhere.
Other companies like Hicksfield AI, Runway ML have also launched similar things recently. It shows that it's a strong market trend, image editing via AI. Speaking of Google, this whole nano-banana story fits perfectly with the very aggressive AI strategy they showed at the Made by Google event.
Other companies like Hicksfield AI, Runway ML have also launched similar things recently. It shows that it's a strong market trend. Image editing via AI. Speaking of Google, this whole nano banana story fits perfectly with the very aggressive AI strategy they showed at the Made by Google event. They gave an example, right?
Someone receives a message asking where an old concert was. Medkill, right there on the message screen itself, understands, searches for information on the phone, I don't know, in the calendar, in another conversation, and already suggests a ready-made answer. Another thing, the Pixel camera giving photo composition tips before you even take the shot. Wow.
And the real-time voice translation, imagine. They promise to translate a conversation with someone in another language while maintaining the person's original tone of voice with support for Portuguese. This could radically change how we communicate globally, right?
Exactly. And connecting the dots, the advanced image editing directly on the Pixel, using text commands to remove glare, restore old photos, colorize B&W images. Sounds a lot like what we heard about Nano Banana, don't you think? The direct integration into the phone makes these things much more accessible. I confess that many of these functions seemed super useful for everyday life. Without a doubt, Google's strategy is very clear. It's to deeply intertwine AI into their ecosystem.
They are betting on local processing on the device itself using a new chip, the Tensor G5, and a lighter version of Gemini Nano, and this allows for things like Medkill, which acts proactively. But then that question comes up, right? How would someone feel knowing that AI is kind of reading their messages all the time in order to help? It's a delicate balance.
Convenience versus privacy. That's a great question. Really, the convenience is tempting, but the privacy is worrying. It's a debate that will certainly heat up, for sure. On the other hand, instant translation, if it works as promised, is an undeniable benefit. And yes, the connection between the editing on the Pixel and the Nano Banana technology seems very likely.
It would be Google's way of putting this powerful tool in the user's hands in an integrated way. And Google didn't stop there, right? The AI mode in Google Search is evolving to be more of an agent capable of handling complex searches, like finding a restaurant with multiple restrictions, type of food, number of people, day, time, specific location.
Google Docs also got a read aloud feature with high-quality AI voices. It seems it will be for paid plans at first, but it's there. And Gemini, their main model, is coming to Google Home devices and integrating with more apps. Calendar, Keep tasks are already working.
Messages, phone, clock are on the way. It's a full-on offensive. These aren't just isolated features, it's a clear attempt to create an ecosystem where AI is the common thread, making everything more connected and theoretically smarter. This puts pressure on the competition, right? Apple, Microsoft, and we see similar moves elsewhere, like Adobe launching PDF Space and Acrobat, which lets you talk to your PDFs to extract information.
It shows that generative AI is becoming standard in productivity software too. The pace of all this is, wow, impressive. And speaking of pace, we have to mention the continuous arrival of new large language models, the LLMs. We saw releases like DeepSeek Vi 3.1, a giant model in terms of parameters, and CID-OS 36B from ByteDance, which is noteworthy for its enormous context window of 512,000 tokens.
That means it can process and remember a huge volume of text at once, like entire books. And NVIDIA's Neutron Nano 9 BV2, which is an open source option for commercial use. The key point here isn't just the quantity, but the growing diversity and accessibility. Open models like these from ByteDance and NVIDIA, or specialized models, accelerate innovation outside of the big labs.
More people can use, adapt, and build on top of this cutting-edge technology. This variety is fundamental for the field to advance. And in this whole scenario, OpenAI, which was one of the pioneers, also made a move. They made some adjustments to GPT-5 to make it, according to them, warmer, friendlier, by adding a few interactive phrases.
The public's reception was a bit mixed. Some found it unnecessary, but an announcement that really got people talking was the preview of GPT-6. Sam Altman, the CEO, says it will arrive faster than we expect, And the big differentiator will be enhanced memory. The idea is to have a much deeper personalization, for ChatGPT to start learning the user's preferences and routine.
This promise of memory and personalization in GPT-6 is an important conceptual step, right? What does memory really mean for an AI? It's not just remembering the current conversation's history, it's building a persistent profile, adapting future responses, perhaps even anticipating needs based on past interactions.
It's the vision of AI as an individualized partner, almost an extension of our own mind. Fascinating, and of course, it raises more ethical and privacy questions. And regarding the pace, Altman also talked about a possible AI bubble, right? Yes, he made an interesting comparison to the dot-com bubble in the late 90s.
There was something real and transformative happening, the internet. But the hype, the company valuations were perhaps exaggerated. Then came the correction. He suggests something similar could happen with AI. The technology is revolutionary, yes, but the current enthusiasm might be a bit inflated. Maybe we'll see some adjustments in expectations and investments.
It's a reminder for us to keep our feet on the ground amidst so much excitement, right? Makes sense. Makes sense. And to illustrate how this AI is spreading to everything, we saw other quick updates. ElevenLabs now offers automatically generated music for videos based on the visual content. Runway ML created game worlds, which generates adventure game worlds from text with images created on the spot.
Meta is expanding automatic translation with lip syncing for videos on Reels and Instagram. And there's a strong rumor that Meta's next smart glasses will have a small display.
Exactly. If we put all these pieces together, super advanced image editing, AI integrated into operating systems and apps, LLMs with memory, music, and game generation, translation with lip syncing, and AI in Excel, the big picture becomes clear. Artificial intelligence is becoming increasingly integrated into our daily lives, more capable, operating multimodally. That is, understanding and generating not just text, but also images, video, audio, and fundamentally more personalized.
Which leads us to a crucial question, perhaps. Precisely as individuals, as a society, how do we keep up with this breakneck pace of development? And more importantly, what skills become essential for us to navigate, use, and even critique this scenario where the technology and the tools change almost every week? Adaptation, continuous learning. It seems that's the way. Excellent point.
So, to wrap up our analysis for today, we've seen that super capable AI image editors like Queen and Nano Banana are already a very palpable reality, challenging traditional tools. Google is weaving AI into practically every corner of its ecosystem, hardware and software, in a clear bet on the future.
And the next generation of AI, as GPT-6 signals, promises deep personalization and is coming fast. The speed and volume of new developments are truly impressive. And to leave a final provocation, perhaps with AI becoming so good at creating and editing the reality we perceive, manipulating images and video with ever-increasing fidelity, generating personalized interactions that can even mimic human understanding.
How does that affect our own perception of what is real, of what is authentic? What does it mean to create or to communicate or even to remember when artificial intelligence can do so much for us and perhaps in some cases like us? It's food for thought, a deep and very necessary reflection. And with that, we conclude our analysis today on the latest news in artificial intelligence.